Good evening, BookTube. I was looking at BookTube. I'm always on BookTube. I'm always watching videos of my subscribers and seeing who has subscribed to me and who has left. And I'm always very appreciative of those who subscribe to my videos, and I always enjoy the comments and the interaction with my viewers. One of the reasons why I came on, I started BookTube was to have interaction with people who are into books, book lovers, bookworms, people who are into libraries, bookstores. That's been my whole life since I can remember. I've always loved libraries and going to bookstores and going to used book sales, and after I retired from the work world and I discovered thrift stores and finding used books at thrift stores, I just enjoy doing that. It's kind of my hobby. I didn't realize until a couple of years ago how many good books you could find at thrift stores. I never entered my mind until several years ago. Most of the books I bought when I was working and going to college and seminary, I bought at retail bookstores. And I didn't even know about Amazon until I retired from the work world. And because I would go, when I wasn't working on my days off, I would go to, we live here in Holland, Michigan, and I would drive to Grand Rapids on my days off from work, and I would visit academic Christian bookstores, and I'd buy commentaries and biblical studies and church history and things like that. But when I retired from the book world, I decided that I would, since I had more time and our kids had grown up and finished college and gotten married and were having children, and I've been retired since 2007, that I would just, and I wasn't teaching adult Sunday school anymore, and I wasn't active in the church world, that I would devote my retirement years to writing in my diary and living a contemplative life and reading books. And then a couple of years ago I found out about BookTube, and so here I am again. So today it's March the 28th. It's a Wednesday evening. My wife just left for the women's Bible study at Covenant PCA, and I'm cooking dinner, listening to some death metal. And I've been reading today a book I got in the mail yesterday. It's horror fantasy. It's called The Devil You Know by Mike Carey, a Felix Castor Exorcism. I got this in the mail yesterday along with this new book by Alberto Manguel, Packing My Library, an Elegy in a Digressions. I have two other books by Alberto Manguel. For those who are into libraries and books on books and people who are into books, you will know about Alberto Manguel. I bought this book several years ago of his, The History of Reading. It's a Penguin book, and it came out in, let me see. This one came out in 1996, and then I bought used a couple years ago a reading diary, a year of favorite books by Alberto Manguel. And then I came across this on Amazon, Packing My Library, an Elegy in 10 Digressions by Alberto Manguel. And so I got that in the mail. And then, but I got also in this book on the mail, I was watching a booktuber and he mentioned this book and I was kind of curious about it. The Devil You Know by Mike Carey. It's kind of like a horror fantasy. And it kind of intrigued me, sparked an interest, and so I ordered it. So I've been reading it. I'm trying to kind of like taking a break from what I had been reading. Kind of just, it's kind of like I read something really intensely for a couple weeks and I get really overloaded and I have to let it settle and think about it and ponder it and digest it. So, and I read something that's more entertainment, not so much demand my intellect. So I started reading this last night and today, The Devil You Know by Mike Carey. I've mentioned that I started walking every day because I'm going to be 66 years old this year and I need to keep myself in healthy condition, not gain a lot of weight. I have a physical, my yearly physical next month, and I do want to live a healthy life, and because I got family, I got grandchildren, and I want to be around for as long as the Lord permits. And I had to also go out today for an errand. At the end of the month, we run out of coffee beans. And so we always order around the end of the month a 5-pound bag of black and tan coffee beans. And I picked those up this morning after I made an order this morning. And right next door to the coffee place is a thrift store called Action House, which provides clothing and furniture and all kinds of things for those in the community who are poor. And they have thrift stores. I mean, they have used books. And today I walked in and they had adult used books for $0.25 and children's books for $0.10. And so I bought these adult books for $0.25. The first thing I bought, I didn't have this in our library. It's a very famous book. It's been mentioned on BookTube. It's called Watership Down, a novel by Richard Adams. I never read this, but Todd the librarian mentioned this in one of his videos recently. And then I picked up The Mask of Apollo. This, the one I bought, I already have somewhere else, but I had 2 copies of this by Mary Renault. It's historical fiction. Takes place in the ancient Greece world, The Mask of Apollo. This is my edition. The one I bought had a cover on it for 25 cents. So this edition I'm going to take to the Book Nook Friday when I volunteer the library used bookstore. So I got that for 25 cents. I also had this book in hardback by Mark Helprin, Memoir from an Antproof case. I had this already in hardback, but I got this for $0.25 at the Action House thrift store. And I'll take this to the Book Nook. I got this for $0.25, but the Book Nook can sell it for $1. So I got that. I also had this book in our library, Mrs. Samila's Feeling for Snow by Peter Hoeg. He's a Danish writer. This is translated out of Danish by F. David. I already had this. I collect his writings, Peter Hoeg, but I'll take this to the Book Nook Friday and they can sell it for $1. And then I bought this, I don't have this in our library, our Tempestuous Day, A History of Regency England by Erickson. I'm really interested in American church, not also American church history, but United States history, European history, and the history of Great Britain. And that's why I bought this book. And then I found a book by Edward O. Wilson, who's an evolutionist, and he writes on natural history. I collect his books because he's a really interesting writer, a good prose writer. Even though I don't believe in evolution, I believe in the account of creation in Genesis chapter 1 of the Bible, but I still enjoy his writings. This is his book on human nature by Edward O. Wilson. I got this for $0.25, and I've seen it in thrift stores before and haven't bought it. So I bought this. These are the books I got at the thrift store when I was out to pick up our coffee bean order. So that's what I got. So basically what here's that Mary Renault. See, this is the one I got today for $0.25. Has the slip cover on it. This is the one I had. So it's kind of a neat cover. So I'll take this one to the book nook, and I'll keep this one for our library. Oh, I also forgot, I got at the Action House thrift store used books today, this selection or a collection of short stories by Ellen Gilchrist, Victory Over Japan. I really enjoy her writings. I have novels by her and short story collections, so I got this today. So that's what I got at the thrift store. That's what I've been reading. I've been reading today The Devil You Know by Mike Carey, a Phoenix Exorcism series. There are other volumes. I think there's 3. This is the first volume of 4, I think, that have come out. And I'm just reading this to relax my brain, and because I can't read heavy intellectual stuff 24 hours a day, and so I pick up something that's just kind of entertainment. And I've been reading Alberto Manguel, Packing My Library, and Elegy and 10 Digressions. I like reading books about book lovers and about books, because when you read about books, you find out about writers and authors you never heard of. And so when I go out to use book sales or thrift stores, I'm always looking for new authors or new books to add to our library. So I got this, and I read The History of Reading several years ago. He has lots of books out, and you can check them out on Amazon. So I got his new book and read this last night before I went to bed. Reading Diary, A Year of Favorite Books by Alberto Manguel. So that's it here in my book world. My wife went to a women's Bible study, so I thought I'd make a video. She's off tonight. Tomorrow's a Thursday. I don't know. I don't have any books coming in the mail until the first week of April. So I don't know what else to share with you out there in the booktube world. And I do, like I said, I really enjoy comments. I enjoy interacting with people out there, talking about books. I look at myself, I've always looked at myself as a person I'm not so much into book reviews, but to making people alert to other books and other writers. I'm mostly into biographies and letters and memoirs, and I'm into art history and European history, American history, Christian books. Those kinds of things. I like literature that's avant-garde or underground. I like extreme music. That's why I like death metal, black metal. I like music that's kind of not popular. And I also like literature that is not mainstream, because I don't consider myself mainstream, even though I'm an evangelical conservative Christian. I'm kind of like crazy. I'm kind of like on the wrong side of the road. I'm living in the slums. I'm kind of living in the shadows. I'm kind of living in outer space. I just don't fit anywhere in the American empire. I don't fit anywhere in BookTube world. I'm just kind of like a stranger in a strange land, an exile. I'm a wanderer. I'm marching to the heavenly Zion. I'm just waiting it out. And yeah. But I do really appreciate the comments. I appreciate anybody who subscribes, because by nature I'm a very insecure person, very shy, introverted, and I really get a good feeling when people comment and subscribe to my BookTube channel. Now, you don't have to be a Christian. You can be an atheist. You can be a Buddhist. You can be a vegetarian, you can be a lesbian, you can be gay, you can be transgender, you can be whatever. And I still will accept you, because we're all made in the image of God. So anyway, I thought I'd share these thoughts. My wife is gone. I got to cook dinner. I just heard that it's time to get stuff out of the oven. I'm hoping you're having a good night. Tonight is a Wednesday. It's 6:43. It is March the 28th. And yeah, I hope you have a good week. Until next time, bye.